16 times the detail.
That's most definitely what's up.
We're aiming for a controversial 7 out of 10.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Attend the tale of Maxwell Roth. He sought the footlights like a moth, his sense of timing never off until he opted to collaborate with a hooded reprobate. The blighter and assassin made a deadly double. Jokes, make 'em laugh until they choke. Fairly slay 'em in the aisles, maidens fair and princes charming. Thrills, dashing feats and bloody spills, and I guarantee you'll never see the ending coming.
Death to all of them.
That's most definitely
The curtain
what's up.
rose, the scene was set, they danced a murderous duet, and much deserving blood was let up too. The scene wherein they disagreed on who should live and who should bleed, and Maxwell Rothy then received a very bad review. Jokes, 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 and there's daggers and there's cloaks, but behind the scenes the leading players differ on the plot. Laugh, laugh, laugh at the dandy's new red scarf. Now 8 shows a week to Beelzebub is his eternal lot. Jokes, 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 make 'em laugh until they choke, fairly slay 'em in the aisles. Mates Fair and Princess Charming, thrills, 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 dashing feats and bloody spills, and I guarantee you'll never see the ending coming.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad to have you. We're gonna vibe now. We're gonna rock and roll. We're gonna try Fallout London. We're gonna talk about stuff. It's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. And remember, no matter where you are, what's going on in your life, there's always money in the banana stand. Always. Never forget that. Never forget that. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Everybody feeling good on a Friday? It's gonna be a good day. Has anyone else gotten 5 different emails in the last 12 hours about the new Amazon pharmacy thing they're doing? They're like, please order your drugs through us. Please, please, please. Bro, you just had to tell me once and I'll think about it. And I'm not 90 years old, so I don't have like a ton of prescriptions or anything. And I mean, what are the odds that Amazon has the best prices on like medications and stuff? That Mark Cuban thing, that thing with the frickin', I think it's called cost plus drugs. Like they'll offer prescriptions at like 5% of the market rate. It's crazy. If you've never seen those videos that Mark Cuban has done on the cost plus drug thing, it's crazy. It's very impressive. Mendez, sorry I missed your Suicide Squad stream. I hope you ... enjoyed yourself. Yeah, I mean, I filmed a video on it that's about to go live on the main channel, and I really honestly at this point just believe that there's no good answer. Either they are so delusional that they really thought Mrs. Freeze and the Joker baby were going to be well received and people would like buy the game again or would tell their friends to download it just to play those characters. So either they're delusional or they knew it would be poorly received, in which case F them, because they like were just trying to go in the face of what the public wanted, their own customers wanted rather. Or the third option, which is sort of a melding, they knew it was going to be received poorly, and that was by design because they wanted the game to collapse. And at this point, I don't know if that's that unreasonable of an explanation, that they like intentionally are like nerfing the game and punting it so that they can walk away. Like, it's not that crazy to think that the devs were like, this sucks, this is gonna die no matter what we do, so maybe we just embrace it. Honestly, I think it makes more sense than reasonable trained developers thought that this was gonna go well. But anywho, Kalim, Luke, what are your thoughts on the Warhammer Space Marine 2 build leak? Yeah, apparently a full build of the game from, I believe early last year, leaked. So some people have like downloaded it and tried playing it. I'm sure I don't have to tell you guys this, but like, don't do that. Don't do that. For one, you will be getting an objectively inferior version of the game that was literally not finished. So it's just not going to be anywhere near as good as the final product will be. Secondly, it's not a release product. It was stolen and then leaked that way. So playing it seems unethical to me. It's one thing if it's found media and it's been abandoned and rediscovered. Like if you play a build for a game that was canceled 15 years ago and has never seen the light of day, honestly, I think that's fine. But if it's a game that's actively being worked on and then you play an early build and then make judgments for it, like it just seems unethical to me. But anyway, there's that, and yeah, I'm sure that the finished version is going to be way better. So I would just chill, you know. It's too bad something like that had to happen, but it sucks. Feels like you're still reeling from Mrs. Freeze. Yeah. They should go elderly Joker and Harley with Nicholson and Helen Mirren. Dude, that would be awesome. I'd eat that up. Why don't they do that? Or the other one I mentioned in this video that's about to go up. I was like, why don't they do... Here's just a few ideas, okay? They could have gone... Please hold. There we go. They could have gone Peacemaker, put him in the game. Like, come on. Imagine being able to play as Peacemaker. They're also doing a TV show or something with him. I don't know. I don't follow it. But like he's a pertinent character right now, but they didn't choose to do him. I wonder why. There's other options that they even have in the game indirectly, such as, you know, a Scarecrow. They could have put Scarecrow in the game. And again, if anybody's like, well, but in DC, it's not that simple. In the Arkham universe, it's alternative universe stuff. They could have done anything. So they could have done Scarecrow. Imagine like Injustice 2 when he has the chain with the hook. Imagine swinging through through Metropolis like that. It would have been awesome. They could have done that. That's
Corey
easy.
Sutton donated £5 through Super Chat. Hey Luke and chat, my son's first birthday is coming up. What the heck do you get a 1-year-old?
It kind of depends on whatever his like initial interests are. Like Orion, my son, he's obsessed with cars right
donated
now.
£4.99
Like little
through
cars.
Super Chat. Her opinion on Elden Ring DLC final boss compared to other FromSoft DLC final bosses?
Thank you both for the 5. I'll answer Corey's first. But yeah, what do you get a 1-year-old? Seriously, like just little bouncy balls, little balls, like little footballs and stuff. You can play with him. Or like Orion loves little trucks, like little cars and stuff. So you get him that, and then he wheels it around and he goes, it's pretty cute. So something like that. Or easy layup. It depends on where you live, honestly. Not everybody can do this, but if you are in a place where like you have maybe a back patio or even a backyard, if you're fortunate enough to have that, something like a water table, I'm telling you, kids eat this up. They like stand around it and they splash in it and pour water on themselves. They eat it up. They love it. And it helps them learn how to stand and stuff. I'm telling you what, that, they'll eat it up. Eat it up. And then as for the second super chat, thank you for that. Azam, thank you. Your opinion on the Elden Ring DLC final boss compared to other FromSoft DLC bosses or final bosses. I think certainly at launch, it is far and away like the most difficult. The only one that you might be able to say was more difficult is the final boss in Sekiro. But for a lot of people, by the time they reach that final boss in Sekiro, they had kind of gotten the rhythm side of the game down, so maybe it wasn't that difficult. But that one was still damn tough. But there were a lot of like talent or skill checks before that. As for DLC specific ones, Orphan of Kos, a nightmare. Of course, his moveset's very similar to... Crap, I forgot the name of it. There's one, he's in the underground section, the big arena underground. He throws a similar weapon in the Elden Ring DLC. There's an Orphan of Kos similar one, but he rides on a like deformed horse, I think it is. So... yeah, I think it's probably the toughest that they've ever done. Putrescent Knight, yes. I think it's on that level. I don't blame people for getting stuck on it forever. Like, that difficult. And especially if you're trying to do it like no summons, go purist, like, yeah, it will kick your ass. It'll kick your ass hard. What's this background song I've been trying to find it. This one, the one that just played, I'll put it in chat right there. There's a link in YouTube chat for you, my friend. And thank you, HP Nubcraft. Okay, that's a funny name. I'll give you that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Thank you for the gifted membership and welcome, B7 or Kyvan. I'm not sure, but welcome and congrats on the membership. Yeah. Anyway, hello from Norway. Good to see you, my friend. See Morg over on Twitch. Random question. You probably have answered this before, but what's your thoughts on Exposition 33 so far? I think it looks great. I'm very excited to see what they do there. But it looks really good. Blake, thank you for the 5. Ishin was a good tough that goes with the game mechanics. Radon is just BS that doesn't fit well with the mechanics of the game. Well, it comes with the territory of the Elden Ring DLC in general, which is that there are so many different builds that you can do. That final Radon will hard counter a good number of them. Like a good number of them. So I understand why some people get to it and then they're hard countered, or they have a really slow lumbering build and they just immediately die the second he does that diving attack right as you enter the arena. I can understand why that doesn't feel fair. It doesn't really feel that fun. Totally get it. But I think one thing that they were trying to do with the DLC was to encourage people to try different play styles and encourage them to respec a lot more. And that's just up for personal, it's kind of a personal matter of personal opinion. If you like respecing to go through a game like that, or if you'd rather just have your build and go through the whole thing that way. It's one thing I appreciate about a game like, say, Bloodborne, or even Dark Souls 3, or certainly Sekiro in the purest form. Because with that, in the form of Sekiro, like, you have one weapon. Everybody has the same weapon. There's not really different play styles. If you got through Sekiro, it's because you mastered the same game everybody else did, you know? Whereas in Elden Ring, you never really know, did you brute force it this way with like just a long sword and you went crazy? Or did you use Mimic Tier? Did you go in and use all of these different items to buff? Did you go in and do this and that? Which patch did you play it on? Was it before or after the nerf? You know, and to a certain extent, I don't think it really matters. As long as you're having a good time, who cares? But I also don't blame people who maybe prefer the more balanced way of doing things that we saw in something like Sekiro or something like that, or Bloodborne, where you can have one weapon and go through the whole game with that weapon, just leveling it up. And you don't really need to worry so much about this boss hard counters this type of weapon, so I've got to totally change my build. I still think Elden Ring would be greatly served if they had sort of a Monster Hunter style loadout swap, where you can just go to a chest, press a button, and then you totally respec. Like, you swap out all your armor, your weapons, you can assign all of that stuff, and so you can change builds on the fly, as opposed to having to go spend a larval tier, pray to God that this actually works, spend all the time getting all of the whatever shards to level up your weapon and get it to +10, then go in and try the boss again, only to find out that it doesn't really work that well. I don't blame people for finding that overly tedious, you know? So, anyway, what do I think of that? That's what I think of it. But yeah, Radon, the first like 5 tries, I also was like, how is this even fair? Like, what am I supposed to do? But what I had to do was respec, pump a lot more vitality in there, get my health up. I had to put one of my wondrous physics with the damage negation one, so it pretty much zeroes out the first hit against you. And then just move on from there. Like it just sucked, but that's just what you had to do. But anyway, I've been staring at this on my screen for like 5-10 minutes, but it's been a little jarring. What I wanted to show with this though is just going back to other potential playable characters in Suicide Squad. This guy, this is an actual DC villain. It's called the Batman Who Laughs. And he has like the brilliance of Batman, but with the chaotic evil nature of the Joker. And dude is insane. Like, it's actual madness. Like it's pretty horrifying. It's pretty horrifying. Look at that. Yeah, that's an AI one, but you get the point. This though would have been awesome. Imagine this guy as one of the playable characters. Like, wouldn't that have been amazing? Imagine playing as this dude swinging through the city and how the rest of the Suicide Squad would react. Like, that would be awesome to see. But no, we get Mrs. Freeze and the Jonkler. Like, they make him look dumb though. I mean, we all know what they would do. I mean, they would make it like, instead of the Batman Who Laughs, they make it like the Bat Girl Who Scowls, and it's just like a pouting teenager with bat ears, and that's it. Like, it would have just been like, but that takes me back to my original point from all of this. It's just that I really get the sense that at this point they've got to be trying to destroy it. Like, they've got to be trying to put out bad stuff, because there's no way they put this stuff out thinking that it would be like well received. I refuse to believe that this is unironically their best effort. So anyway, let me post this video real quick and then we'll launch Fallout London. I went hardcore, guys. I read all this stuff, how it breaks your save files, it breaks your install of Fallout, and you have to like go back to a previous version of Fallout 4 to the pre-next gen version in order to get it working. And I was like, you know what? What do they recommend? They recommend to use the GOG version. So for this stream, I bought an additional copy through GOG. I installed it through GOG and disabled cloud saves, did everything they recommended. So now I have my Fallout 4 through Steam. That's Fallout 4. And I have this totally separate copy of Fallout 4 that is just for Fallout London. So hopefully any potential bugs, any potential hiccups we run into or crashes are much more isolated. We can fix it much more easily. Because I've heard rumblings that this is potentially a little bit of a flimsy DLC. Or DLC mod. There are lots of crashes. There's some trouble that you can run into. But we're going to try it. I booted it up twice already and it booted fine. It loaded in fine. So I think we'll be okay. But yeah. Hey, Luke, didn't realize how much I would learn how finance work in big corps from you. Lol, if YouTube collapses, you make a good financial professor. Thank you, my friend, Mike Dememe. I've actually told, I was just talking to Nikki about this, like, whatever, a week ago, because something popped up and it was just like one of those, like, it doesn't go, I'm sure it's not a mystery, but like there's headaches involved with doing this as a living, and it's something that can be exhausting for various reasons. And so I was like, I wonder what's on the table for after all of this. Like, hopefully it's 15 years, 20 years down the road. But you know, I don't want to be one of those like boogie types who's getting a face tattoo to try and keep people talking about me, you know? If the writing's on the wall, I'll leave it there and not put it on my face and go try to find something else to do. And I was like, what would that be? And I actually told her, I was like, I kind of enjoy college and higher education. I could totally see going and getting like a master's or pursuing a PhD or something and then teaching, or working as a consultant, because it's just, I enjoy it. You guys can tell, like, I ramble about this stuff so much, you know. Matt Pat going from YouTube to producer seems like the best of a job switch. Yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of people in my position who were like in college and then started doing YouTube and then dropped out of college to do YouTube. I'm one of the weirdos that actually finished it and took on the student loans and stuff as a result. Even though I don't really use my degree and my like actual degree and certificate, whatever, in my day-to-day. Like, I could do this if I didn't have a degree, right? I talk about finance stuff all the time and bring it up in videos, but I don't need my degree to do what I'm doing. Yeah, Luke's going to show up in YouTube ads in front of a Lambo going, here's how I make $10,000 a month and you can too. Yeah. Ignore the fact that all of this is rented, please. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's good to have other pots on the stove, just because you never know. There could be another adpocalypse. There could be all sorts of things that pop up and cause chaos. Hopefully not, knock on wood. But I don't think you should ever like be like recklessly spending or recklessly being just outrageous. Because I've alluded to it before, but like I told you guys about one of the TikTokers I met at an event relatively recently, and dude makes pretty good money, like not a millionaire, but pretty good money, well above the average in the US. And he's just a single dude. Like he's got his nice car and he goes around doing whatever he wants, basically traveling a lot. But I was talking to him one night after we had had a lot of drinks, and I was like, yeah, so I mean, do you have like investments? Do you have this or that? And he's like, no. I'm too young for that stuff. That stuff's boring. Okay. And then later he's talking about all this stuff and mentions he mentions that his TikTok revenue is drying up. I was like, oh, that's not good. It's like, yeah. He's like, hopefully TikTok doesn't get banned, because if that happens, I'm screwed. I was like, and you don't have like any investments or savings at all. Oh no. Oh no. But a lot of people in my position are like that. People would kill not just to do this for a living, but they would kill to make what we make, you know? Like, we make good money doing people's dream job. That is like double privilege. Like, that is an amazing gift to be handed in life, and to just frivolously squander it because they're like, yeah, no, it'll probably work out, whatever. That's just so crazy to me. So crazy to me that people could just be like, yeah, whatever, we'll figure it out later. Like, man. Yeah, they act like athletes always have, make millions, blow it on stupidity, go bankrupt. Yeah, dude, it's like these people make enough money to, at the very least, like maximally contribute to a retirement account, like an IRA. Do they do that? No. And that's like one of the easiest ways to invest and save for your future, you know? But anyway. Yeah, it's like when you find out what some of these guys spend their money on, it's just baffling. It was funny. I saw, I've told this story before, but there was an old interview with Johnny Depp where a journalist was like trying to do a gotcha. It was like, Johnny, it's been reported that you spend $30,000 a month on wine. Is this true? And Johnny apparently sits back and scoffs. Oh, this is the problem with journalism. It's insulting. It's ridiculous. No, I do not spend $30,000 a month on wine. It is far more than that. And it's just like, oh, okay. That's got it. That's funny. Okay. He's like, don't insult me. You think I only spend $30,000 a month on wine? Who do you think you're dealing with? I'm Johnny freaking Depp. You know? Okay. Anyway. Yeah, Johnny's one of those crazy people that has just spent crazy amounts of money for ages and ages.
Kill and can destroy buildings for up to 5 miles from the explosion. Fallout is dust that is sucked up.
He also owns an island. I saw a TikTok recently that was straight up an AI. Like it was not real. If you're talking about the TikTok where he's like, or the YouTube short, I think is what I saw it as, but it was a YouTube short / TikTok where he was saying, and I own all these cars, and I own this $500,000 car, and I own $78 million in real estate, and this and that. That one's AI. He is freakishly rich and owns a lot of stuff, but that was an AI voice, which is crazy. And they do it in a deceptive way, where like they'll cut to a real interview or panel interview or something of him talking, and it kind of like those Todd Howard, you know,
We're aiming for a controversial 7 out of 10.
those types of clips where he'll go in and say something like that, and he'll say a few words that he actually said, and then they do the AI part as they cut away from it, and then they cut back to him, and then he says the actual lines he actually said, and then they do the AI part after that. It's pretty sketchy. It's pretty crazy. They should add Amber Heard to the to Suicide Squad. Dude, they might as well do it. Yeah, I've seen it. Like Joe Rogan's had a lot of clips of him generated that way. Mr. Beast also has had clips of him generated that way. It's kind of scary times because we're getting about to the point where these systems and tools can create audio clips and video clips of pretty much anyone, especially facing the public that talks a lot. And they're very hard to like distinguish from reality. It's pretty wild. Yeah. Oh yeah, bedtime. I think a lot of those comments on like the Naraka video, I think what it is, I was talking to a friend about it. I had always thought it was clear that iTrides are separate from like reviews or critiques or anything. Like iTrides are about typically like exposing my audience to a game. That's at least the goal, is to share a game with people that they might not have otherwise seen. And sometimes, you know, we're exploring it for just out of morbid curiosity. But I do think it's fair to say that some of those iTrides where we've had sponsors, where it's just like, yeah, check it out. This is what the game does. If you're interested, check it out. Links below. I think some people see that as just like paying for a positive reception or something. And that's not the case. Like I have turned down, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I'll just say it anyways. I've turned down tens of thousands of dollars, like this year probably alone, from companies that have reached out for like mobile games and some bigger games you've probably heard of that want those types of reactions, want you to say the character designs in this are the best I've ever seen, you know, stuff like that. We've turned those down because like that's just not what we do. I have to be allowed to say whatever I want, and that's what I'll say. But I'm also not reviewing the game in those cases. And so I think I have to be better about being very clear. This is not a review. This is not like this is not me trying to critique the game and tear it apart. This is me sharing the game with you guys. And if you want me to do a deeper dive and analyze it and figure out what works, what doesn't, I'm happy to do that. But I do think that people were fair to point out that like, hey, this just is presented in slightly in like a clunky way where it's not clear what this is supposed to be. And so I got to be better about that for sure. There's like a big ass dog on our front porch. Somebody's like, one of the neighbors' dogs got out. He's like on our front porch. It's like a big ass Dalmatian. Oh, don't you dare pee in my grass. That's new sod. No, okay, he's running off. It's like a big ass dog, dude. Okay, that's weird. there's just like a big ass dog on my front porch, just like kind of hopping up and like looking at the doorbell, and then walking around, looking around. Walks right through like the grass and everything. It's just funny. Luke worrying about dad thinks like sod is so wholesome. Dude, there's 2 little patches that are just fried and dead, and we've had to replace it, like cut it out and put in a new graft or whatever multiple times. And we're getting towards the end of the season, so if it doesn't latch onto the dirt, we're just gonna have dead patches all winter, you know? I understand how much of a dad I sound like right now. I'm sorry. Yeah, get off my lawn. Oh man. Yeah, I had my morals until Luke said tens of thousands of dollars. A lot of these companies are willing to spend ridiculous amounts of money to get a positive reaction. And that's why I think it's all the more impressive when companies do reach out and are willing to pay for like exposure. They're willing to sponsor you to talk about their game. But they're like, yeah, and you can say whatever you want. And you have to promise us that you're going to be honest. In the contracts for all the stuff we've done recently, it's in the black and white of the contract. Luke agrees to present his honest and fair opinions, positive or negative, to his audience, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's pretty, it's good to see that some companies will still do that, you know? Okay, you ready? Are you ready? New. I guess I should introduce this. New segment, game, whatever this is. So, this is Fallout London. This is a mod that's been in the works for years. It is an expansion size mod that's free. You can just download it. And it pretty much goes in, you have to install Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition, not the current gen version, because that breaks it apparently. Or I guess it's next gen, whatever. But once you get it installed, it basically replaces Fallout 4. So when you boot Fallout 4 now, this is what you will see. You will no longer see Boston. You won't see any of that stuff. It's Fallout London. So I've done all of that. I've bought a separate version of Fallout 4 through GOG, which is what the devs of the mod recommend doing. And we've installed the mod directly to that version of the game, which hopefully will reduce potential crashes and bugs and stuff like that that may pop up. But those may still pop up. So we're just going to go into it, hit confirm, and hopefully it doesn't crash. Let's see.
War. War never changes.
It's weird hearing it in a British accent.
Since the dawn of
War.
man, when tribes beat each other to death over necessities, the will to power has been the driving force of mankind. When the great fires of humanity's ambition ravaged the earth, it was not our doing. For the bloodiest chapter of human history had only begun. Britain was not spared the hellfire. And London, a monument to mankind's ambition, was returned to the state of nature. Those who emerged from the ashes did so from a network of underground bunkers known as Pindar stations. And so it was that the embers of civilization would ignite once again. Over a century later, through the military might of the Tommies, an aristocratic parliament continues to give orders. but few are still listening. In the Tower Hamlets, the fifth column rises. Training drums beat and uniforms march, all in the name of their dear leader, Eve Varney.
Eve Varney.
Across the Thames, in the pastures of Richmond, a great army gathers strength. Styled on the Camelot knights of days past, they're headed once more unto the breach. For there are whispers of angels beneath this hallowed land, a curtain of illusion and intrigue, a puppeteer behind the scene. Only one thing is certain. Those who take the road to Westminster will be forever changed. Because in mankind's pursuit of power...
Would it trigger any Brits in the audience if instead of Westminster, I pronounced it Westminster? Would that trigger you guys?
And no ideal too sacred. Because war never changes.
Mind the gap. Mind the gap. Stand clear of the door, please.
Yes, because what you said doesn't exist. I'm just going down to Westminster. I have to go see the big Benjamin. Okay, body type.
Subject has been performing adequately. No spikes and visuals, nothing unusual.
Perfectly usual.
Smythe. Smythe will be pleased.
Smythe.
How are they in appearance?
Uncertain. Perhaps we should take a closer examination.
Here we are. Face. Body. I thought I selected female, but I guess I did not. Let's go just generically muscular. A nuclear. Okay, so you have to start on the left. We could go as Sven. Is that what we should do, Sven? Okay, accept that. Bring those. Oh, you just shift his whole face down. Let's go, Sven. And then body, muscular. We're playing a first-person shooter. We're never gonna look at our face except dialogue, so that's fine. It's Sven.
Excellent. A rapid progress is made. And with zero anomaly.
Of course. Now, what about their physical and mental development?
Okay. Name. Svenworth of Westminster. Strength. Let's see. What do we want to do? So for one, let's go. Charisma checks are probably going to be pretty crucial. Action points are also very nice. Maybe go down a little. Go here. Boost the XP. Endurance is also going to be nice, though. It stresses me out. I'm just not going to use VATS. Let's just not use VATS. Is that fair? Intelligence, agility, ability to sneak. I'm not agile. I'm not lucky. Pretty charismatic. That's the word I've invented for this. Charismatic. I sprint a lot. I think we do that. So decently strong. Endurance is okay. Charismatic. Pretty charismatic. And intelligence. I'm just gonna continue to to mispronounce everything through this entire run. I hope you guys know. Can I put my hand out and touch his hand?
Gentlemen, I trust everything is going well.
Oh, goodness.
Tremendously so. In fact, it may be our best work yet.
Good. The subject looks ready for conditioning. Within a week or so, we can wrap up Phase 1.
Thank you, sir. I'll set Phase 1 on autopilot.
Thank you, sir.
See that it's done.
Seems to be rousing a bit.
Not to worry. Let's put them back under.
Wow. Bro got bonked. Yeah, for real. Pew, 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 pew. Beep, beep. Real quick, does anyone know the console command for changing the FOV? Because I can already tell you I'm going to get super motion sick playing with it this tight. Is it like player set FOV something? Player dot set FOV 120? No. Is it just FOV? Yeah. Let's try that. Is that better? That's better. Excuse me. Okay. I don't have a Pip-Boy, so I can't equip anything. Let's pick up all of their stuff, though. And we'll just immediately sell it the second that we get out. I can go this way. Is there anything in the bloody-uppy part? No, they came in from up above. Turpentine! I remember watching a whole video series on a crazy person that drank turpentine because he thought it was a panacea. I think he's dead now. Because it's literal paint thinner. It's like, you don't drink it. I think I'm gonna go even whiter. We'll see how ridiculous it makes his hands look. I love the T is out. I love it. GOG. That's funny. They have a shirt in here for the GOG version. That's cute. Okay. Thank you to our Patreon and coffee supporters. VIP. That's cute. You actually get in the game. That's cute. Oh, my screen is black. There we go. Okay, we're back. Basic supporter, Ultimate Fan Club. Okay. Okay, nothing really in here. Oh, am I gonna burn to death if I try to jump over that? Quick save. I'm gonna jump. Nope, can't jump over it. There's probably another door. Let's see. We don't want to die this early. Is there anything else here that's actually like important? Supporter basic. Bit hot, isn't it? Oh no. Okay, well, it did crash. It did crash. Okay, it's okay. We'll manage. We'll try relaunching. Need that bottle of water. A bottle of water for the fire. Okay. Let it boot back up. Need a crash count. Like, here's the thing. It's a mod, so you can't really complain about the mods, but about the mod crashing, right? Because it's like, oh, you got it for free. Like, can't really complain about free. But it is really funny that everything relating to any BGS game nowadays is just like, yep, it probably crashes and breaks. Like, it just happens. Yeah. We need a crash count. Is there a way to easily add a count? Let me see. Guess I could just put text on screen. Did it just crash again, or was it because I swapped inputs? Damn it. Okay. We'll try that, okay? We'll try that. And now, is it gonna work again? Nope, my screen is black. Might have crashed a second time. Maybe keeping track of that, it's gonna be more trouble than it's worth. Come on. Come on. Maybe. Somebody did say in a comment in chat before we started this, they were like, it's probably going to go much better if you have like 3 different mods installed. I'm not sure what those mods are, but I can investigate that. My screen is still black. There we go. Okay. Back in it. Back in it. Terminal. Using terminal. Log entry. Ooh. File integrity 1.7. Okay. That's not good. Log entry. Reset door mechanisms. The rad shrew. Small carnivorous mammal. Mutated. Much smaller. Counterpart. Tiny eyes. Large. Okay. Wanted to also reset door mechanism. Cap. Pick up the device. I'm trying. Oh, I'm in combat. Dude, there's something so visceral about punching little rats to death. Is there another one? Over here. Like, just imagine full strength punching a chinchilla. That's basically what he just did. There we go. It's a super cool variant of the Pip-Boy. I kind of love it. Let's put on some gloves. Test subject suit. Goggles. Gotta have it. Utility belt. Okay. Door controls activate. Go gadget door opener. Oh, that's funny. The FOV breaks it, I think. It's a bell ringing, isn't it? Dilly dilly. Okay, I need to stop just picking up everything. Bro's seen better days. Yeah, none of you have guns. Oh, well. We'll try booting again. Try booting again. There we go. Yep, that's 3. Like, again, it's a free mod. You can't be that upset. What's funny, though, is, like, they've worked on this for years. And they were going to release it back in, I think, April. And they had to delay it because Bethesda came out of nowhere with that next-gen patch, which also broke the game worse than it was before. And it's just so funny how flimsy this stuff is. What's even funnier is, like, the defenders of the creation engine and all that stuff who are like, no, it's totally, like, it's up there with the best of the best engines in the market. Sure about that? You sure about that? And hopefully they can get it more stable. I don't know how many rounds of crashes we can do if we can only play like 2 minutes at a time. Best of the best in 2006. Yeah. These crashes are kind of like loading screens if you think about it. True BGS fashion. It's all coming together. It's all part of it. Oh, we have to go all the way back. So I just need to constantly spam quick saves. Because we got to go all the way back. Okay, well, at least we know where we're going. Have to beat up the little rats again. Come on. I would just love to know what's causing the crashes. What are those mods that fix most of the crashes? Because I think it still crashes a lot, but somebody was saying there are mods that make it better. Oh, so I think this didn't work right the first time, because I don't think all these guys broke out at first. Yeah, weird. Because before they were in here, I don't know what happened. Okay. It is funny, my FOV being this wide definitely is causing it to get a little wonky. Yeah, modders will fix it. Okay, and then I was gonna put on my stuff. And let's do that. Cool. Quick save. Door controls. Like literally anytime I do anything, I just have to quick save it. Maybe FOV. Boot it up again. Boot it up again. Try that. Try that. Oh, man. Yo, Luke, hope you're doing well. Yeah, just load in. There we go. Hope you're doing well. I was curious, what is the hardest game you've ever played? Souls-like game and the hardest difficulty or puzzle game? I mean, honestly, for me, the one that took me the longest to get the hang of was probably Sekiro. I don't know why. Like, I'm just not really one of those rhythm game dudes. it just didn't click with me at first. And so it was really tough to get the hang of it. Like I got stuck on whatever, you know, the big ape, the like ape with the worm in it, whatever that guy's called. I got stuck on that for days and days, man. It was wild. Quick save. And so that was one that I really struggled with. And other people just had no problem. It was super easy to get into. But for me, that one was really tough. Quick save. Quick save. Call button.
You have a doubt. You got it, boss. Yeah, no power. I can remove it from the main network. But
Guardian Ape, that's what it is. Yeah, Guardian Ape can... Oh, man, Guardian Ape can get bent. Huh? Pick up the torch. It's a flashlight. Don't you know that? Quick save. Then it's usually holding tab. There we go. Okay. Pick up the torch. The torch. Mr. Handy Fuel. Mm-hmm. Through the window, through the wall. Till the sweat drips down my...
where are you going? I doubt you'll make it far. Someone such as yourself.
What? A capable
you were more
person?
useful as a lab rat. But alas, it seems I'm not long for this world. It's a shame, really. There was so much I wanted to do.
Oh.
Off you go, then. Be seeing you.
Hop in the lift, isn't it? Cheerio. Just imagine if that dial was an accurate representation of what the elevator was doing. Okay. Ooh, it's beautiful.
You are quite the wayfarer, aren't you? Escaping all that hubbub. With all you've been through, I'm impressed. It seems I neglected to introduce myself. Very unprofessional of me.
Yes, quite.
I'm Mr. Smythe.
It's that dude.
And you? Well, it doesn't matter who you are. Now, I'm sure you have many questions, and perhaps someday I'll answer them. But for now, wayfarer, let's not stand on parade. Since I'm all for giving one a sporting chance, I've unlocked the doors. Go. Stay safe, and remember, mind the gap.
Quick save. Oh, nice. Little phone booth, adorable. Love to see it. Okay, what do Brits call escalators? 'Cause you call elevators lifts, What do you call escalators? Do you call them like uppy uppies or something? What do you guys call them? The London Bridge. Oh God, I wonder if it's fallen down. Please, no. Oh, you call them mommy uppies? Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That checks out. Magic stairs. I like the idea of every time you're in like a mall. Oh yes, we've got to get on the magic stairs. Nobody knows how they work. It's quite mysterious, frankly. It's honestly quite baffling. Door cannot be opened. How peculiar. Oh God! Come here, you rube! Smack! I smack you. Queensberry rules. Okay, I'm gonna eat all the meat. Jam door. Ooh. Okay, big money, big money, big money. There we go. Oh God. Read the note. Do it. Jump, you mean? I ain't no bitch. Probably could have figured that out if I had thought about that for a moment longer, but well. Okay. Anything else up here? Oh, there he goes. No, I don't see anything else. Inaccessible. Inaccessible. Can't break the glass. Killed the little buggers. And that's also inaccessible. So I'm too weak. Well, okay. Try that again real quick. Try that again real quick. You guys said it was the buff out mod is the magic mod. Come on. Okay, now my monitor's black. Oh boy. Oh boy. We'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah, just quickly delete system 32. Gotta fix it that way. Gonna take matters into my own hands. Buff out 4, you're saying. Works wonders. Okay. It's like buff out, but for the engine. Okay. Requirements, files, description. Do I just unpack it? I gotta install all of them. Script extender, address library, and XSE. Yeah, it'll take time to install. I mean, if we keep having crashes and we just can't progress within a reasonable amount of time, we can just return to this after I've done those at like Monday or something. Vortex, yeah, I don't have it paired to this version of Fallout. I have it paired to the Steam copy I have. So, not the end of the world, but okay. There's a note that said do. Oh God. Okay, that one I didn't mean to do. That one was a genuine accident, okay? That one was a genuine accident. Vortex doesn't work well with London. Ah. So you're saying go back down is the way. I don't see any other way to go up here because I either can't open the doors or I'm too weak to open the doors. Oh God. Yeah, if you try to move in here, you fall because the elevator is actually moving. That's funny. Lobby. I know he said lobby. It sounded like he said mommy. London Bridge Station. Yes. Yeah, I hear that this is way easier to get going on GOG. Yeah, that's what I've got. Represent. It's like Kamala. Wakanda forever. Oh God. Bro. Be a ball. Oh. I hear other stuff. Tells you how to make your home and your family as safe as possible under nuclear attack. Doesn't seem like it worked. Okay. It's just a birthday cake, okay. Sweets. Let's eat some sweets, isn't it? All the rads, bring it on. Quick save. Yeah, they've got a microphone plug-in, so whenever it detects you doing a bad British accent or Cockney accent, it crashes automatically. Okay. Pretty unstable, isn't it? Pretty unstable, isn't it? I just want to get out into London. I want to see Big Ben, and then we can go on hiatus and return to this later once I have all the patches and stuff. But if you're saying the train bit is the part that's particularly crashy, I don't know if I have the strength. Continue, isn't it? There we go. Dilly dilly tally ho and such. Limit FPS? Okay, I can do that. Oh, actually, I don't know if I can do that once we're booted in. Is there a console command that will do that? Because I think in the display options, they don't have any of those settings. Yeah. Yeah. Limit in NVIDIA. That somehow worked for me. Okay, we'll try this. If it crashes again, I can do that. It probably will. What if I just look straight at the floor? Nope. It lasted longer. It lasted longer. Yeah, Rivia Tuner I do have. Ba 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 ba. And I was minding the gap, dude. Is there any issues with having GOG Fallout given that you're installed to different location than Steam's? I don't think so. I mean, it'll just be... It just sees it as a different app. The mods don't overlap. There's nothing like that. Let's see. MSI Afterburner. Fan speed memory clock. Are you guys also saying NVIDIA control panel? You guys are also saying buff out is super fast to install. Can I just manually install it? I'm able to just quickly manually install it because it will take 5 seconds to install it. But it's if I have to install all these other mods, then it'll take a little bit longer. Okay. Oh man. Log in here. I am human. Hear me roar. I am double human. Okay, it apparently does not like that. So what's the count? What's the count? Does Vortex make it better or not? Like if Vortex will actually help, I can just use Vortex because I already have Vortex and use Vortex. But if it's better to just do all of this manually, I can also just do that. Download. Slow download. Beginning in 3 seconds. The dog is back. That silly dog. Okay, do I just extract this to the folder with the game? I'm assuming that's usually how it works. Fallout 4, Goaty, extract. Voila. Cap. You're the third streamer I've watched play Fallout London, and you've all had different problems. Really? Drop the Fallout 4 SE folder into your Fallout 4 data folder, and done. Okay. Voila, voila. Parlez-vous français? That is done. Let's try booting it up now. And hopefully it didn't get way worse. Let's see. Fallout London, in it. There we go. I'm feeling good about this. Feeling good. This is totally going to work. And if it doesn't, we'll just put a pin in it and we can like return to this Monday or something if I get the mods working. We shall see. But I'm optimistic. It also still, can we just appreciate how insane it is that a mod like Buff Out 4 has been out for years and it fixes a bunch of core issues with the creation engine crashing. And BGS has not managed to just do it themselves. It's honestly just shocking. Let's try going all the way down here. Well, I was feeling good about it. Now I'm not. So I don't know what to do, man. Can I just look up here, let's do this. Fallout London train. Oh, somebody's got the first 20 minutes. IGN has the first 20 minutes. Does this have the train bit? Yes. Okay, let's look at this. Let's look at this. This is the actual bit. Let's see. This is what we're missing out on because it keeps crashing. Should I pretend like I'm playing? And then it crashes.
Video on the best way to play Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas in 2024 with mods and for everything.
I mean, I'll try to get it working. I'll keep chugging away at it, or chipping away at it. But man, it's frustrating that it doesn't just work. But I get it. It's a free mod. You can't really complain. I grant you that. But still. It'd be nice just to have some like, click it, it works, boom, we're good to go. I saw somebody bring up this. I guess we can pivot to this real quick, just because somebody wanted me to talk about it. And we have looked at it once already, but I guess I can bring this up and just be more definitive with it. Real quick, just so I can get that out. News segment. So there's been a good amount of drama recently with Star Wars Outlaws. As I've said, like I've played the game. I played it at Summer Game Fest. I have even spoken to some devs and stuff. A lot of the devs working on Star Wars Outlaws previously worked on Avatar, so I met them back last year at events for that. So it's a capable team over at Ubisoft Massive, but in the last week and a half, the sort of discussion around Star Wars Outlaws has somewhat pivoted among some of the more cynical crowd as it pertains to Ubisoft, specifically with Ubisoft's history with like graphical downgrades and stuff. Because IGN, the saints that are IGN, they posted a collection of gameplay, a 10-minute clip that people saw and did not find particularly impressive. Some bits of it look fine, but then other parts of it, like this shot, totally fine. Like nothing to complain about here. This looks pretty good. But then there's other shots where, for example, she goes in and engages in combat. And you can see like it's right, the most replayed bits. Because whatever this was playing on, there are some really poor like effects with the fire and explosions that just look PS2 era, frankly. And then there's also frame drop galore happening during the combat. And people brought this up. So like look up here. There's these shots here where the explosions are also just not very good. And then the frames are dropping all over the place. Now, what I've said, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's clearly visible. There is something going on here, which is why it's caught people's attention. People have seen this and been like, what is going on? And it's jarring because what we've seen previous to this doesn't look like this. Everything else we've seen is much more impressive. And what I will say is, like, I have played the game. I have actually put my hands on it for extended periods of time. And everything I've played does not look like this. It does not play like that. Granted, though, what I've played on, or what I've played the game on is a PC. So I'm sure running with more graphical firepower behind it. But this appears to be footage captured from an Xbox build, and some of the special effects like that right there, I'm sorry, it doesn't look good. It just doesn't. And I've seen Ubisoft, even in like Avatar, their previous game looked way better than this. You can see the barrel disappears a full frame. Technically it's dropping frames. This is what, 60, yeah. This is 60 FPS footage. And you can see it's going down to 30 frames. It dropped a frame there. The barrel disappears for 2 frames, and then the explosion happens. And it's just not, like, you can see the pieces of the barrel are supposed to be flying away, but the barrel has already despawned and been culled out. So you just end up with holes in the special effect. And then it spawns back in the pieces of the barrel to fly away and get blown apart. But then it's gone as quickly as it came, and there's no remnant of the explosion. There's no, like, permanency to it. So it just doesn't look very good. And my feeling is that this is like a Series S version of the game or an old Xbox build. That's, I think, the most reasonable explanation for why it's running the way that it is. Because, again, the version of the game I played back in June was not like this. It was a PC build, looked and ran way better than this. And I think that's what's been a little jarring, is that this version just seems to be a pretty big and sizable step down. Some people were saying, oh, well, IGN's had problems with blurry footage and poor capture quality before. You've pointed that out plenty of times. And I have, because they, for whatever reason, capture stuff typically at really low bit rates and stuff. But this appears to be basically B-roll that was sent by Ubisoft, and the fact that they sent this is a bit of a blunder. I don't know why they would send this over, especially if the game is actually running better than this. I don't know if this is an old piece of captured footage or what, but this isn't a capture issue. The frames are dropping. That could be a capture mistake with the encoder just crapping out. But the things like the special effects on the explosions not looking very good, that is just, the explosions don't look very good. Like, that little effect just doesn't look very good, and that's not going to be affected by capture. The frames, maybe, but I think if there's smoke, there's fire, and if there's graphical problems elsewhere in the footage, it's probably all connected to the version of the game that's running. Now, to play devil's advocate, if it is a Series S build, that's probably lowest priority in terms of polish, because it's the least popular console on the market. So at least there's a reason for it looking this way. That doesn't really excuse it, but at least there would be an explanation there. And then on the flip side, you could say, you know what, this is months before launch. This is probably captured 2 months before launch. So that could be part of it, is it's going to get polished up before the game fully launches, which is fair. The game changes a lot. You got to remember that whenever they're showing you footage that seems relatively polished, that's usually footage they polished. Like, they cut a chunk of the game, they polished it up. So it's technically a version of the game that's like 6 months old or a year old by the time you see it. So that is perhaps fair. But I think at the end of the day, it's just, if you're trying to sell people on the game and then you release footage like this, where there's lots of frame drops and some of the explosion particle effects are not looking great, you shouldn't be surprised when people call it out. Like, especially when other footage you've shown is much more impressive. And I think that's more what's jarring, is it just goes against what we've seen elsewhere, where there's other shots and other clips where the game looks pretty good. Will it, like, fundamentally affect the performance of the game in terms of sales? I don't know. I don't personally believe that. Star Wars Outlaws, Jedi Survivor, another Star Wars game, had horrible technical performance at launch, and that game performed just fine. So I don't really know if this will have a market impact on all of that. But I guess time will tell. I think there's just, you know, with Ubisoft, you can't slip even a little. Ubisoft has had, you know, a lot of, let's just say, missteps in the last however many years. And so they've burnt a lot of goodwill and a lot of bona fides with the community and with gamers in general. And as a result, I think now they just don't put up with much. And so Ubisoft can't slip. Like they just can't make a mistake like this. And it's an easily avoidable one too, because I feel like anybody at IGN should have looked at that footage and been like, so this is going to get called out. People are not going to respond great to this. Are you sure this is what you want us to publish? And they should have, you know, maybe looked for better footage or addressed, this is a Series S version. That's why it looks this way. And I think people would be more understanding, but you can't really be that shocked when the reception is like that, when you're releasing footage that's clearly got some issues. But what are you going to do? I mean, at this point, they can release more trailers. I think they got to release trailers showing more explosions and stuff that run well and also look really polished. But now, like when I eventually review the game, assuming that they hook me up with like a review code, I'll be asking for like an Xbox code, and I'll be testing the game on Xbox to see if it actually runs like that, because that's something to call out. You know, I called it out when Jedi Survivor ran like that, and I didn't recommend you buy the game at launch. And if the game runs poorly in this case too, you got to call it out both times. But I think, like, there's going to be previews. We talked about this with Joe Raptor. There's going to be previews going up probably in the next week from various outlets and creators that have played the game for extended periods of time. And I would guess that most of them don't call this type of thing out in those videos because, again, like, everybody that I've talked to, this gameplay footage was really weird to see because what they've played was nothing like that. It didn't run that poorly. It didn't look that rough with explosions. So it was kind of an isolated incident, but we'll see. Now everybody's going to be looking at all of the gameplay footage they drop, and they're going to be looking at it under a microscope to see if it is like that elsewhere. You know, people are going to be keeping a very close eye on it. That dog, nobody's gotten the dog yet. The dog's just like running around like the neighborhood, going up to people's front doors and stuff. I don't know what the deal is. Okay. Anyway. No one company holds the Star Wars license. They do it on a game-by-game basis. Yeah, so EA had the exclusive game rights for however long it was. I think it was like, I want to say it was like 10 years or something like that. But they had the exclusive rights, and then they, like, it expired, and it opened it up for everybody else to make their own games if they licensed it with Disney. And that's why we've gotten some of these other ones. And I mean, EA in all that time, they put out what, 2 games? Well, I guess they own Respawn, so they put out 3, I think. Must have been 3, because they did Star Wars Jedi. Well, I guess Jedi Survivor was after the exclusivity lifted, but Jedi Fallen Order was within the exclusivity, so they put out both Battlefronts and Star Wars Fallen Order. So I think it's 3. They had the license for a decade, and they put out like 3 games. Like, what a waste, dude. What a waste. Oh, and Squadrons. That's a good point. They had Squadrons too, which was actually well received. People did like that. Okay. Okay. Sorry, YouTube's algorithm has been like really desperate for me to look at some of these like random videos, and I think it's because we're in an election year, so there's a lot of content that wouldn't normally be popular in the algorithm that's shooting up. So it's like all these clips of like, we put Donald Trump into BioShock, or we put Joe Biden into Fallout, where he's basically a ghoul. Like there's a lot of things like that pop up that are a little jarring to just see cross your feed. Anyway, I guess, why don't we talk about this? Somebody brought this up, and I think that this is a good conversation to have. So I want to hear your thoughts. I'll be looking at the chat a good amount for this, both Twitch and YouTube. So I appreciate everybody who's hanging out with me in both chats. But I want to talk about this because Fallout London, I guess let's do this. New segment. So with the launch of Fallout London, it's gotten me and a lot of other people kind of thinking of the future of Fallout, right? Because the Fallout show popped off earlier this year, blew up the Fallout franchise into a new stratosphere of popularity. I mean, more people were talking about it, playing it than ever before. And that was reflected in the sales numbers, in the concurrent player record numbers on Steam, for example. Even games like Fallout 76 saw a resurgence and popped off with crazy player numbers and engagement. Fallout is huge. And yet, there really is not much in the works to take advantage of it. Fallout London comes along from modders that have been working independently of Bethesda. But other than that, they have Fallout 76 updates. And that's about it. Like, there really is nothing else. As of right now, the current schedule, or sorry, we've been talking about Fallout London. So schedule. The current schedule for Fallout was, of course, if this is our timeline, okay, we have Fallout 4, and that was in 2015. 2018, we get Fallout 76. And so just a few years later, not 13, 18. Just 3 years later, we get that. Then there is nothing. Nothing. So just to put it in perspective, okay? So this, we get the Fallout show, which pops off super, super popular in 2024. Maybe it's easier if I just do 24. Now, what's next? As of right now, our understanding is that there is nothing else scheduled until Fallout 5. Todd has alluded to a couple of other things. There was a leak during the FTC hearings to stop the Activision Blizzard acquisition, for example, where there were documents leaked, not leaked, I think they were technically officially released, but in those documents, there were discussions of a Fallout 3 remaster, which might still happen, might not. When those documents came out, people saw them and obviously got really excited, because not just Fallout 3 Remastered was listed, but there were other projects listed too people got excited about. And Phil Spencer made a point to come out and say, don't get ahead of yourselves. Some of the things that we planned years ago are still in the works, obviously. Other plans that we had are no longer in the works. So just don't get ahead of yourselves, okay? And with that, I think they might be walking it back. Like a Fallout 3 remaster, let's just be perfectly honest with ourselves. If all it is like some cranked up texture quality and and that's basically it. Maybe they include, like, it's basically Game of the Year edition, so they include maybe some Creation Club stuff or whatever they do. I don't think that would go over that well, because it would be a relaunch of a game that honestly has not aged that well. If you've not gone back and tried Fallout 3 recently, it is a relic of its time. I mean, it is a 2008 first-person shooter open world adventure game, and as a result, it is burdened by all of the restraints of the time. So shooting wise, the shooting mechanics are pretty rough. Even back in 2008, if you go back to some of those like reviews, people are calling out the shooting as being pretty rough, but it's a Fallout game and it's Bethesda, so it's fun anyways, right? But I think in 2024, it will feel all the more jarring, or if we get it, maybe they wait till 2028 to drop it. At that point, 20 years old, it will feel like a 20-year-old game. And if all they're doing is a remaster, that will definitely show. Because it's important to remember, they have phrased this in those documents as a remaster, not a remake. So this is not going to be like rebuilt with Fallout 4's tools or anything, even to that extent. It's like a Fallout 3 remaster. So I think it would be very... I don't think it'd be well received. So I wouldn't blame them if they canceled it. But we just don't know right now if that's still going to happen. And let's be honest, they're going to release it and it's still going to have all of the bugs it did before. It's going to run terribly. And then modders are going to have to find ways to fix that as well, because that's just what Bethesda does. So maybe we get a like 20, like maybe 2026, we see like a Fallout, we see a Fallout 3 remaster. But that's a big question. We don't actually know that. Okay. This might be canceled. It's up in the air. Other than that, what else is there that's even been rumored? Pretty much nothing. We've heard rumblings of possibly, them doing like a Fallout New Vegas 2 or something, but that's all speculation, to be clear. Because there are rumors where somebody says, hey, a source told me this. And then there's speculation where it's just, I think it would make sense for them to do this, right? There's a difference between rumors and speculation, and then reporting. Reporting is like a journalist who has credibility comes out and says, I've spoken with 3 sources and they all agree on this point, so I can report that this is happening, right? We're not even at rumors with these other Fallout projects, okay? It's still in the speculation phase where nobody has even come forward to say that this is happening. It's just speculation. And so what's been speculated? Maybe they do a Fallout New Vegas 2 or a remake of Fallout New Vegas. That would just make so much sense. Xbox would print money if they did that. And I agree. I think that would pop off and be super, super popular. But again, that hasn't even been like a rumor. That it's not even reached that point where somebody who works as an intern or as a writer or something has gone on NeoGAF or something and said, yeah, we're totally working on that. It's going to be super awesome. Nobody's even done that. Bear in mind, Fallout 4 leaked back in like 2011 initially, I think it was, with some scripts that went out. Might have been 2012. Starfield, we found out about Starfield back in the 2012-2013 era. I think it was early 2013 when they filed the trademarks for the name. And back then, they actually thought it was going to be a DLC for Skyrim, which is funny to think of, that it would be like, nope, a decade later, the game's going to come out. And it's very much not a DLC for Skyrim. But like we found out about it all the way back then. So if there were something Fallout related, one of the biggest franchises in the world, I think we would hear rumblings about it. It's the same reason why I just am not convinced we're ever going to see like a shadow drop of like a Bloodborne remake or something. I know some people think, oh, Sony's going to come out later this year and they're going to launch a Bloodborne remake with the PS5 Pro. I think if there were any rumblings of that happening, it would have been leaked 15 times to sundown, and every journalist worth their salt would be begging to get that story out. So I just don't think it's happening. maybe eventually they greenlight Obsidian or somebody else to make a remake of Fallout New Vegas or something. Honestly, I think a remake of Fallout New Vegas does better than Fallout 3 remastered, especially because the show, if you haven't seen the Fallout show, let's just say there's a call to Fallout New Vegas at the very end of the show. In the last episode, there's like we're going to go there. We're going to check it out. And it's very exciting, but I think that's why a remaster or remake of New Vegas makes way more sense than a Fallout 3 remake or remaster. If they were taking the show to Washington, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, I don't think that they're doing Fallout 3 anymore. It just doesn't make sense. So maybe this is Fallout 3 or it's New Vegas, but right now it's just total question marks. We don't know. There's not even rumors about it. It's just speculation. If anybody has rumors or has had sources that have come forward to talk about it, I have not come across them, and like, I do this for a living, so I just would be shocked if there are, reputable sources coming forward and saying this stuff. The extent of stuff I've seen is like your stereotypical, somebody posted on 4chan and said, my dad works at Microsoft and told me this. It's just not what I would consider credible. So other than that, what's the next official launch? Like, what's the next official thing on the calendar? Well, as of right now, the only thing that is like officially expected would of course be a Fallout 5. And if we break it up, let's just be like completely clear about this. BGS has long dev cycles, especially crossing console generations. They really struggle with pumping out cutting edge tech, and it takes them a bit longer than other studios. So Bethesda is expected to release The Elder Scrolls 6 probably sometime around 2028, I think is the consensus most people have said. If you look at, Shattered Space, they're working on that. They're working on a bunch of other projects and things, but they've started work on Elder Scrolls 6. It took them a very long time after they finished Fallout 76 in 2018. It took them 5 years to get Starfield out the door. So if you then say 5 years from their next big project, which is Shattered Space, let's say 5 years from later this year when they launch that puts it in like 2028, 2029, most likely. So if we're being generous, I think we would say 2028 is when the Elder Scrolls 6 launches. And again, that's like probably, I would guess 29, but maybe even as late as 2029. Do you feel old yet? So we're in that range. And after that, they probably do a big DLC expansion or something for Elder Scrolls 6. And that leads into 2029 to 2030 when they start work on Fallout 5. Give them another 5 years. That puts this somewhere in the range of, not 20, of 2034 to 2035. Does that not just break your brain? That means, according to their official roadmap as we understand it, Fallout 5, they plan to release 20 years after Fallout 4. "20 years. Is that not horrifying? And this isn't even like that complicated or scandalous a prediction. The only way that this accelerates is if Bethesda expands significantly and basically creates 2 strike teams that are the size of their current team that work on huge games like this at the same time. Is it possible they do that? Sure, but we saw what happened when they tried to work on 2 projects at the same time before, because they worked on Fallout 76 while they were working on the early dev of Starfield, and it just didn't really cleanly work. There's been interviews and stuff with devs that left the studio right after Fallout 76, largely because they were frustrated at how poorly managed the company was when it scaled up to that size. So I just would not expect it to go that well. But yeah, I mean, this is what we're looking at. As of right now, again, the only stuff that is like confirmed is we're going to get more seasons of the Fallout show, and we're going to get more updates for Fallout 76. But the Fallout 3 / maybe New Vegas remaster, remake, whatever, that's all still very much up in the air. Like, we really don't know much about that at all. It's possible that this stuff ends up happening, but it's also possible that it's all been canceled or they just don't have the resources to do it. So this is all just a big maybe. And if you just scratch that out, then we're left with the Fallout show launching in 2024. We're getting updates to Fallout 76. Elder Scrolls 6 launches 2028 to 2029. And then 5 years after whenever that launches, assuming that they get right to work, it might be 5 to 6 years if they also do big DLC packages for it. You're then looking in the mid-2030s. Like, that's wild. That's wild. So, does that make sense? I don't think so. I mean, you are sitting on one of the biggest IP in all of gaming, and after the show, pop culture. And you're going to sit on it from today for a decade? What? How does that make any damn sense at all? If you are given a golden ticket to just print money, how on earth do you sit on it for that long? That's why I don't think they would honestly sit on it for that long. I have to imagine that everybody around Phil Spencer is screaming, dude, greenlight something Fallout related. It doesn't even have to be that good. It could be an 8 out of 10. It could be a 7 out of 10. It could be a 6 out of 10. Just something Fallout related to capitalize on some of this excitement and hype. Just something. Like, they own Bethesda. It's not like Bethesda is a contractor or somebody that they publish games for. They now own Bethesda. They own the rights. If Phil Spencer wants to come along and say, Todd, I know you're sensitive about other companies getting your licenses and IP and stuff, but yeah, we need to do this. We need to do this. So we're going to give it to another team. Like, Todd has no say. Todd's like, okay, we got to do it. I don't get the final say here. So I think it just makes too much sense. If I were them, I would dream scenario. Okay, you ready? What did Sven Vinke say, the head of Larian, the guys behind Baldur's Gate 3? What did he say was one of the only IP he was interested in working on besides their own? Fallout. I think what you do is you go to Larian. They already said they're working on their own IP again. But so this is still like a decade out. But I'm telling you, go to Larian, cut them whatever check they want and say, hey, we need you to do a old school like CRPG style Fallout game. Do that. You can have the IP for that. Go crazy with it. And the internet explodes. I really think the internet would explode. It would still be probably 8 to 10 years out before we actually get it, but still, I think that would pop off. More immediate help, I think what you could do is you could go to Obsidian, and you could, because Obsidian right now is working on Avowed, which is set to come out, later this year, I think? So they've got Avowed, and then probably next year or the year after, they have The Outer Worlds 2. So you could then go to them and say, after you finished Avowed, that team goes and either helps wrap up The Outer Worlds real quick, or you guys go and start work on a remake of Fallout New Vegas. I don't think you bite off more than you can chew and try to do a part 2, but I think you remake it with modern tools. So you have like fully open world. You don't have those weird multiple gates of areas within New Vegas where you walk through this gate, you get access to 5 buildings, then you go through another gate, you get access to 5 more buildings. I think you just do a full remake. I think that's what you do. And because it's coming from Obsidian, that gets a little credibility. It's like we finally got to return to our roots, and we've even expanded some of the dialogue and stuff. You could do all sorts of things. People would eat it up, I think. I think you do that. That could reasonably be expected to come out maybe 2-3 years later. Give them a few years to put it together. That would mean that we're looking at maybe a 2028 release for a Fallout New Vegas remake. Then I think this is much more palatable. You at least are getting something big, a Fallout fix in the meantime, because frankly, there's a lot of people for whom Fallout 76 is just not interesting. Like, it's just not going to click with them. Because so far, when Todd's been asked about this, he just goes, well, we have Fallout 76. We've got updates going to that. So we have more Fallout content coming all the time. It's like people act like there's nothing for a decade, but no, we've got Fallout content all the time with Fallout 76. And he's not dumb. I'm sure Todd is aware that the types of gamers that love their single player stuff are not necessarily going to connect with Fallout 76, and they're not going to find that to be an adequate replacement, especially because Fallout 76 still is far from a perfect game. It's far from where I would consider a main entry in Fallout to be. But what's really funny about the potential for all of this? Imagine they do give Larian access to the Fallout IP, and then Larian comes along and makes that 10 out of 10 masterpiece Baldur's Gate 3 level Fallout game, but it's like Fallout, I don't even know what you'd call it. Fallout, the Rockies or something. Like, it's a Fallout game set in the Rocky Mountains, and it's just huge and expansive with their same Baldur's Gate 3 style of design. I think you could actually get to a situation where that spinoff is definitively the best Fallout game ever made. With New Vegas, people say that, but then, Bethesda can point back and be like, well, Fallout 4 sold way better, and our review scores were higher on this one. Fallout New Vegas didn't launch with great review scores, and so actually, we think that we have the most definitive one, but it's up for debate. I think if Larian took it, they could run with it and release definitively the best Fallout game ever made. And I think that would be a problem. I really think that would be a problem for them. I don't think they would just go along with it. Like, I'm sure Todd is pulling out every stop to keep control of his baby, because imagine you've had your career defined by basically 2 franchises, by Elder Scrolls and by Fallout, launching those and getting them going on console and introducing them to a hugely wide audience. And then you hear rumblings that the executives above you want to take that franchise away from you and give it to another studio who is one of the most critically acclaimed studios of all time, while you have been struggling to get critical acclaim on any of your projects in the last decade. I'm sure that messes with you. You're like, they're going to take my baby and they're going to show how, like, I think it would be embarrassing. I think you're right. I think you're right, Farfree. I think that would be embarrassing for Bethesda to be like, okay, well, Larian just did a 10 out of 10 Fallout CRPG, and then they launch Fallout 5, and it's okay, or even pretty good, but it's like an 8 out of 10, kind of like Starfield. I think that would be humiliating in some ways, because it's like a lot of gamers would then be like, okay, well, Larian is now like the definitive Bethesda, the definitive Fallout studio, you know, and just leave it there. Oh, Norcat, that's a really good idea. Make Trump or Harris, they should nationalize Bethesda when they're elected and force them to work on Fallout. There you go. What's your first act as president? I'm gonna force Bethesda to make a Fallout game. That's what I'm gonna do. Instantaneously elected, no doubt. Youth turnout would be crazy if a politician did that. Can you imagine? Dude, that'd be so great. Just like with Interplay, Fallout taken away. Yeah, I think that would be a concern. Like, honestly, if you were known for one thing, or for, in this case, two things, and then one of them gets taken away and handed to somebody that does it way, way better, like, I think that would pop off. I think that would pop off, you know? Oh, man. But anyway, with all this, I point this out just to break your brain and make you feel sadness, because it's going to be a very, very long time before we get anything big and official from Bethesda or from Fallout in general. And it's just too bad. It's just too bad, frankly. So the franchise is doomed, is what you're saying. I think the franchise has been, for no good reason, put on ice effectively. Like, the franchise is being treated in the same way it would be if it were the last entry were a colossal flop. And Fallout 4 wasn't really a colossal flop. Fallout 76 should have been in some ways, but ended up popping off and doing well in the long term, which is great. But I think the way that they're just not going to touch it seemingly for a decade is just bizarre. It's just a waste, you know? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. How is 76 doing now? I don't know where their player numbers are, like, now that the show's kind of calmed down. Steam, DB. But it was doing really well when the show was popping off. Let's see. I mean, yeah, right now there's 13,000 people in it. And that's just on, like, just through Steam. So if we go back 6 months, yeah, this was it during the show's popularity. It peaked at 73,000. And then 60 something thousand, then it went down. It was always on the weekend it would peak, which is pretty normal. But it was in the 60,000 range, 50,000, 40,000, 40,000, 30,000, 30,000, 30,000. And it's recently calmed down a bit more. But that's a tremendous spike for a game that's 6 years old and started as a flop, you know? That's crazy. That's crazy. So it seems to have calmed down, but yeah, 13,000, that's like 6.5 Concores. Yep. Sure is. Sure is. Would I prefer they scrap the Elder Scrolls 6 and start working on Fallout? Well, no, because Elder Scrolls fans have also been stuck waiting for another game. We're complaining because Fallout 5 is probably 20 years away from its last entry. But Elder Scrolls 6, when it launches, most likely in like 2028, that will be 17 years from their last entry. So you can't really complain either which way. It's just, this is what happens when a studio that makes one game at a time effectively takes anywhere from 5 to 7 years to put games together. And then they introduce a third IP that nobody really asked for in the form of Starfield. And it's like, okay, well now everything is heavily shifted. You know, it's just, that's what happens. I just don't understand how they can't develop 2 games at the same time. It's all about management. Like, I've spoken to people who have worked and currently work at Bethesda Game Studios, and the common complaint is that they feel like the team has already grown too big for its own good, and the management doesn't know how to handle it. And so a lot of time gets wasted on stupid stuff. If it were managed better and more efficiently. And I think that that's really at its core the problem with BGS is I don't think you can just scale it up. It's not as simple as, well, just hire 300 more devs. Just do that and then make 2 games at the same time. It's like there's a lot more going into it than that, you know. He said it might be good for to make fans wait. What does that tell you about Todd? Well, I mean, I think to a certain extent, part of the reason people get so freaking hyped for Bethesda stuff is because they make you wait. They're not trying to do a constant drip of content. They understand that, you know, distance makes the heart grow fonder. And over time, people get those, like those rose-tinted glasses put on, and they start to forget how things were. Like, I have no doubt that in like 5-6 years, people will look back and be like, well, Starfield really was very impressive. It just got too much hate. Already people are doing that. And, you know, Starfield was fine. It was just mediocre was the real problem. But like Fallout 4 launched with all sorts of issues and bugs and performance issues and stuff. And I just think that over time people do that naturally. And Todd gets that. Did you talk about the SAG-AFTRA strike? It seems like it's not going to affect GTA 6's release. Yeah, I saw some articles talking about it. It seems like it's like the Screen Actors Guild is striking, or like whatever the faction that is associated with voice actors, they're striking. Most, if not all, of the dialogue and voiceover for a game like GTA 6 is already recorded, so I don't think that'll really affect it. But it's because all these companies are talking about trying to find ways to do like AI synthesized voices and save money doing that. And so I understand why those actors and actresses are looking for some level of protection, because this AI stuff and the voice synthesizing, whatever, the voice synthesizers, they're getting way better very quickly. So it probably is only a matter of time before they start to do that more broadly. Have you seen all the buzz around 13th gen and 14th gen Intel CPUs? I guess a bunch of them have been degrading and crashing. I might be having a similar issue because my computer has started to blue screen and randomly die fairly frequently. But my streaming PC's fine, and the only real difference is that one of them has one of those Intel, I think 13900K or something, and I don't remember what it is, but yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad. Intel used to be like at the very top, and then they got super complacent, and then AMD just like waltzed in and kicked ass. You know. Use Ryzen, it's better anyway. Well, yeah, I think my next PC I'm gonna go Ryzen. I was hoping that there'd be more of a the thing I had always heard was, well, for gaming, Intel's good because each individual core tends to be more powerful, and most games are only written to take advantage of like 1 or 4 cores or something. So the Ryzen stuff and the Threadrippers and all of those are just overkill and won't really be that utilized for day-to-day gaming. So I was like, oh, I'll try Intel, but I run into more problems with the Intel CPU than I thought was reasonable. So anyway. Is there a game that surprised you this year? I'm trying to think of all the games that have come out so far this year. Honestly, I was expecting Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to have more legs and to stick around longer, but it seems like it launched and then everybody forgot about it. I know the fans, like the hardcore fans of it, really ate it up, but it just seems like it dropped and then everybody moved on pretty quickly. And I think it's because the people who played it, ate it up, but it wasn't like a really public thing. And I also think that a lot of people who were interested in it and wanted to play it, they were like, I don't know, it's kind of a private thing. They didn't want to watch anybody's videos on the game because they didn't want anything spoiled for them. And so I think it just kind of spun like that. Father Isaiah, good to see you, my friend. Other than that, like big surprises this year. Big surprises. I don't know if there's been any big surprises. Well, I guess Helldivers 2. I did not expect to like that as much as I did. I really thought that it wasn't going to be, like it wasn't going to connect with me at all, but I ended up really enjoying that. Pal World, I think, surprised everybody with its popularity. That exploded. So I think that is also probably a surprise. Vendetta says Banishers was a decent surprise. Yeah, Banishers, I thought that looked good from a mile away just because I like their previous stuff. You know, those Don't Nod games. And so I was excited to see that one. And I'm glad it turned out pretty solid. Yeah. Yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2. Yeah, that one I think was solid. It wasn't for everybody, and I tried to stress that. I was like, there's a lot of stuff in here they do that will really infuriate a lot of players. Like the traveling stuff and just how they had the world set up, things like that. Yeah, I totally get why people would not connect with it and dislike it, but that's why I kept saying, like, it's not for everybody. If you're hearing me describe this stuff and you don't like it, don't don't jump into it because you're just gonna end up hating it. But yeah, the Dragon's Dogma 2 controversy was stupid and it killed the game. Yeah, there were a couple of big YouTubers and streamers that made videos freaking out about how they had day one DLC where you could buy like port crystals and stuff that you can get in the game, but they also sold them for like $2-3 at a time. And I thought it was just weird because like the publisher's other game, Resident Evil 4 remake, came in the year before, had the exact same microtransactions, and there was no scandal. So what's the difference? And I think to a certain extent it's that there's a trend for people to just freak out about anything they can find, and there certainly is a little bit of hypocrisy with this stuff where you find somebody that calls out a Dragon's Dogma 2 for that stuff, but they're suspiciously mum when it comes to Resident Evil 4 having the same kind of thing. You know, they might be like, oh yeah, that's bad anyway, and then they move on. Whereas for Dragon's Dogma 2, they're like calling for everybody to boycott it and stuff. Just in general, I'm at a point, especially after the last like year of games, I'm just at the point where I just want to play fun games. And if the game sucks or is bad, I won't buy it. I won't play it. But I'm just tired of like every other game that comes out. People are like, okay, so we got to boycott this one. I'm like, can we just like, even if the game is a 7 out of 10, it could still be worth playing. Even if it's okay, it can still be worth playing. Like I've played lots of okay games. We all have. Doesn't mean that you should call for boycotts of it. You know, it's like, it's just silly. But RPG fans don't like microtransactions. Yeah, but also so don't like you know, fans of like high quality single player games that are like action thrillers or horror thrillers, they don't like those either. Like with Resident Evil 4 remake. That's why it's like, yeah, this stuff is here in the shop because it's pretty clear that executives are like, hey, you need to do this and put in some microtransactions to help us meet these quotas. And once you've done that, you can release. So they put in these little bitty things and moved on. But I don't think anybody else really, like, you know, it's just, I don't think they balanced the game around it. Like, you know how in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, they basically balanced the game, it seemed, around using the XP boost. So if you didn't use the XP boost, the game was way slower and way more grindy. That's when it's a problem. Like, they are selling you a solution to a problem they made. That's a problem, and that's definitely a big deal. But when it comes to something like Dragon's Dogma 2 or Resident Evil 4 Remake, it's like, just don't buy the damn things. Like, they've put this in, the devs had to put it in because executives were being stupid. Just don't buy them, and eventually they'll stop putting that stuff in because it's a waste of time. But the fact that they still put them in, somebody's buying those things. Somebody's doing it. It's one of you. Somebody's responsible. But anywho, guys, I think what we'll do, we'll call it there. I'm going to try to get this mod working, and hopefully I can play more Fallout London, and maybe we do a video or something on it. But I've got to fix these crashes. So I'll work on that. In the meantime, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I appreciate hanging out with you guys. You know, I always do. We posted that video for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League Season 2 up on the main channel. So go check that out if you haven't already. It's a gosh darn good time. And so go check that out. And until Monday, stay safe. I love you all. I'll see you soon. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.